So there's a big overarching topic that Nancy and I want to talk about in today's training and today's episode, and it's how to turn LinkedIn connections into paying clients. LinkedIn is a gold mine. We've talked about this in previous trainings and previous episodes, and it is the truth. And you can scale your business, you can grow your business. So, what we're going to really clarify with everyone today is why you may not be getting clients, but also most importantly, three concepts or ideas of how to start gaining clients from your LinkedIn strategy. Now, before we dive into today's training in today's episode, as we mentioned in previous trainings and episodes, we have a high-level 5-day LinkedIn workshop coming up April 27th through May 1st, 12 to 1 Eastern, live and recorded, called Scaling Your Business Using LinkedIn. And we're going to be teaching you all of the deeper concepts outside of what we're going through today on what you need to do to grow and scale your business using LinkedIn, from getting people to opt in for your lead magnets, growing your email list, getting more engagement, which you can create more conversations and client acquisition. So it is a $29 workshop. You get a workbook that it's editable. You can write in it all throughout the 5 days. So you get to spend 5 hours with myself and Nancy, plus extended replay access until the following Monday. So you can go back and watch anything that you may have missed. So if you're watching on social, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and you are interested in signing up, and we're capping this at 150 people max, so you do want to grab your seat while you can, just type the word me in the comments and we will send you the link to get yourself registered. If you're listening on the podcast, even easier. The description of this episode has the link for you to register. So we would love to see you there. Again, April 27th to May 1st, 12 to 1 Eastern, live and recorded. So there's a number of reasons why I feel people fail in really leveraging LinkedIn the right way. Now, there's a number of things, and Nance, if you want to kind of dive into this, then we can have the discussion from there. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, number one, I think when people do not actually set intentions for what they're using LinkedIn for, things can get a little sketchy right off the bat, right? When people just join LinkedIn and then they don't really do much as far as optimizing their profile, they don't really put a strategy together, as far as organizing their content, and they don't really decide, right? Am I connecting with referral partners? Am I going to really focus on generating leads, and truly networking and growing and all those things? And so the thing is a lot of people jump into LinkedIn and they become super salesy right off the bat, right? They become spammy. They decide that, you know what? I'm going to like skip and I'm going to message them right away and say, hey, do you need what I have? And they just jump right into it. And it causes so much friction. And it actually does the opposite of what most people want to do. And we're going to kind of talk through that a little bit more. But the thing is LinkedIn is really an incredibly unique platform because it is a relationship building platform. It's a place where you can make friends. Okay, we talk about it all the time. There are a million ways to do things wrong on LinkedIn, and there are quite a few ways, right? If you just stay focused and you stay patient, where LinkedIn can truly explode your business. And so that's what we're going to dive into today is the misconceptions, right, that some people have of how to go about it and actually what it looks like behind the scenes and how those different pieces all fall into place. And again, Scott already mentioned we're going to be covering this a little bit more in depth during our workshop, but today you're going to get like a little highlight, of what we're going to be going over. And so we really, again, cannot stress enough. Please, if you are that person who is sending a cold DM and you're pitching, right away, you're not making connections, you're showing up inconsistently, please, please, please stop the madness. So, Scott, do you want to dig into, right, where there's 5 steps, right, that we're going to actually walk through for how you can really use LinkedIn effectively to, build and scale your business and really grow your email list, which we're going to talk a little bit more. So, Scott, do you want to dive into step one?
so step one, and I've talked about this before, is the optimization of your LinkedIn profile. This is the first step in building that know, like, and trust. and why we always talk about this. And there's a couple key things that people miss. And one is the background banner. Most people may have too much verbiage, maybe they just have their website. If your background banner doesn't clearly communicate from the onset of that person visiting your LinkedIn profile what you do and who you do it for, you're missing opportunities right there. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, it simply states the LinkedIn sales marketing and content system for coaches, consultants, and service professionals. So it clearly states what I do and who I do it for. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for their problems to be solved. So if you just have, your website and maybe a title, and that's really it's not going to land the right way on those potential clients that are wanting to potentially work with you. That's how you actually build the know, like, and trust. The second thing is your headline section. Now, what a lot of people do here, I would say wrong, is they put a bunch of power statements. They take the I help from the banner and they also put it there. You have to understand that your LinkedIn profile is like a website. It's SEO keyworded. So if you don't have the right SEO keywords fluttered all throughout your LinkedIn headline, which are allowed 220 characters, you're not going to appear in searches, which means you're not going to have people visiting your LinkedIn profile. So mine, as an example, I have client acquisition in there, I have AI in there, I have sales, I have lead gen, client acquisition. These are all things that my ideal clients are typically searching for. But if I don't have them listed in my headline, I'm not going to appear in searches. So make sure that when you are writing your headline section, you're thinking about what your ideal client will be searching for from a keyword standpoint that would allow you to populate. And then final is your about section. This is where a lot of people think that they just have to write a couple bullet points or a short story. Maybe they even have it written in third person. The five keys to a properly written about section is number one, make sure it's written in first person. You want to be telling your story. Number two, you really need to encompass what it is that you actually do, maybe systems and strategies that you have in place, and who you actually help, much like your background banner, but in deeper context. The third thing is you should list at least 15 to 20 specific skills that are hard skills that you have accrued or possess in your business and your strategy. So you can list marketing, sales, lead gen, website optimization, lead magnets, whatever the case may be, they are keyworded as well. The fourth thing is also tying in a little bit of your personal journey in that about section. Don't go right into everything that you do now. You also want to include some quantified metrics, how long you've been in business, maybe sales that you've helped people close. For me, I have years in business. I have the amount of money that people have made working with me. I have the amount of downloads that my podcast has. I have the number of times I've written best-selling books. LinkedIn likes quantified metrics, so include any quantified metrics. It's okay to gloat because you want to share your expertise. And fifth and final, you need a direct call to action at the end of that about section. And I typically recommend two: business website, not personal, because you do not want people scraping your data and then pitch slapping you and emailing you spam to your personal email, business email, and then business website. So at the end of mine, it says email colon scott@scottaaron.net, website, thetimetogrowcom. So again, include business website, business email, and that is how you really start by optimizing your LinkedIn presence and closing clients and closing sales with your LinkedIn profile. Nance, what's number two?
Yeah, so step two is stop again doing random things and start connecting with intention. The people that you're connecting with is who you're growing your audience with, right? These are people who are going to be seeing your content, are going to be, people that you're hoping to get on calls and connect further with. A lot of people go wild and crazy chasing vanity metrics of, oh, I just want to have this many followers or I want to have this many connections. And they just keep hitting the button. And it is really not the best, right? Audience that you're building there. So before you connect each and every day and you're growing your LinkedIn connections, think, right? is this an ideal client? Is this an ideal person that I would actually want to work with? Number two, is this a potential referral partner? Okay, we like to call them power partners. Is this someone who you can partner with and, collaborate or maybe, be a good referral partner with business back and forth? They're already in front of your audience. In fact, there are some people, some clients that I've had that have just used LinkedIn to grow their referral networks. And it has been epic. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. I always share this story, guys, as well. With my agency, we work a lot with a certain type of industry. And the thing is I reached out to a PR expert on LinkedIn. I was just trying to connect. My client had a need. I wanted to make the connection. And that PR expert actually said, I need you. We need so much content for our clients, especially thought leadership. If you're ready to turn on the water hose, just let me know. And at the time, obviously, we were very boutique, small, not looking to hugely grow. And so I'm like, let me put a pin in it. But the potential there, I cannot stress enough, is so huge. Even just using the example for commercial real estate professionals. Okay. Think about the people that you can connect with, right? Attorneys, brokers, actual, property owners, all kinds of different people that you can make connections with and rapidly grow and scale your business just through referrals alone. Okay. So please make sure that you're connecting with attention. And also, the other misconception, I love that Scott always talks about this, is you don't have to send a message every time you're connecting. Okay. I know LinkedIn asks this, but you don't always have to say yes. The only time that's going to be appropriate is if you know the person. If you actually met them in person, maybe someone, in your network referred that person, to connect. For example, the other day, my cousin connected me with someone who owns a business that really helps support and grow teams. And he was on LinkedIn. I sent him a connection. I said, hey, I connected through XYZ, right? It's when it makes sense. But don't just send a bunch of generic messages, just hit the connect button. And again, if you're creating the right content, if you're showing up in the right way, just like Scott shared as well, as long as you're very clear on what you do, you're going to start seeing some of those connections be accepted.
Which
Okay.
actually brings us to number three, which is content that builds trust. And I don't want to go too in depth because the last thing we want is for people to get overwhelmed. But here's the deal. Only 1% of the LinkedIn population posts one time or more per week on LinkedIn. So that's why Nancy and I, we've talked about this prior, that we recommend posting 3 times a week. Now, LinkedIn recommends if you're going to post 3 times per week, post Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The reason being Monday, people are kind of getting back into the workflow. Friday, they're kind of checking out and thinking about happy hour. In all honesty, we don't really care what 3 days you pick. If it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it doesn't matter. As long as you're posting 3 times a week, you are going to create more of a visible presence on the platform. You are not looking to go viral. You are looking to be remembered on the platform because if you're leading with value, if you're leading with thought leadership, if you're leading with education and tips and resources and answers to people's questions about their problems, they're going to come back to you. And I can't tell you how often, and it's literally every week, I have someone reaching out to me that has been following me and reading my content that wants to get on a call to talk about how I could potentially help them. Your content, and this is the key, what people fail to recognize right now on LinkedIn, what is converting best and most in new leads and clients acquired is the quality of your content. Your content is what is allowing people to get to know you, build know, like, and trust, and have the comfortability to then reach out because they feel like they know you because they've been engaging in your content. So if you're not creating thought leadership content, if you're just repurposing maybe from Facebook or Instagram, it's not going to start conversations. It's not going to direct people offline. It's not going to build know, like, and trust. And you're going to limit yourself to build that know, like, and trust to get people to cross the bridge from going from someone that's just a connection that's looking at your content to someone that's a connection that's liking, commenting, resharing, and open and willing to talk to you outside of just your content. So make sure that your audience remembers you as a value added resource and a trusted resource and an expert in the space that you're in.
Yeah, and I just want to add like a quick little tip in there as well. There's a lot of people who fear sounding repetitive. Okay. And I want to remind you that people are inundated with information right now, right? They see things 1,000 times. They see tons of other people's posts. Guys, they need to see your stuff again and again and again, right? To stay top of mind. It is one of the biggest misconceptions that, oh my goodness, I shared that a month ago. Somebody's going to remember, or a couple months ago. Guys, that's no. You
I,
need to
I
shout.
post the same thing written in a different way 5 days a week on LinkedIn.
Oh, all the time. People need to hear things again and again and again, even sometimes for it to click. I mean, it's like, what does Scott do? He posts about LinkedIn 24/7, right? And he even said it. He posts the same thing in different ways. And there's still people that go, what do you do? So the thing is we need those touch points. We need to get out there and please stop overthinking. Oh my goodness, I posted that last month. People don't even remember what they ate yesterday. Okay, let's be honest. Okay, so please make sure that you show up consistently, and you post. And don't feel bad if you think you're posting and it's sounding repetitive. It's actually better. Okay, so the fourth thing that we're going to focus on, and then we'll get to step five, is start real conversations. Right, like I said before, do not pitch. Do not spam, right? Don't jump right to, the obviously your intentions on there. Don't jump right to it, right? We want to be curious. We want to ask questions. We want to get on a call. We want to meet people. Again, whenever I said our goal is to make friends, I'm not even kidding you. That's what we want to do. Because when you get on calls with people from LinkedIn and see how you can support each other on LinkedIn, you're either A, walking away with a potential client because you've now shared what each other does, and that person's like, oh, I really need what you do, and then they go ahead and get started. Two, they say, oh my goodness, I don't need you, but I have a friend who does, right? So maybe they have a referral. Or three, they're actually now going, oh, well, that's great. I actually, might need you in the future. And you've planted a seed and you've made a friend. Okay. So, in fact, I didn't even say four, they could be a potential power partner. So, we've got a lot of good that comes out of this, but we have to start those real conversations. Okay. So these conversations are incredibly important, and that kind of flows into Scott, step five.
Which is getting people off of LinkedIn. So this is something that we talk about often, that all social media, including LinkedIn, is rented land. So if you're not doing what you need to do to move these conversations offline, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a Zoom, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. Because here's the thing, your LinkedIn profile can act as a lead generation source and an email capture source. Maybe in your headline, if you have premium, you have to, visit your website. If you have the free version of LinkedIn and you had a link in there and you didn't remove it, like we do, I still have my business website there that drives traffic. In the featured content section, you can have a lead magnet, you can have a quiz, you can have your calendar link, you can have your website, you can have a workshop you have coming up. You need to be thinking of how can I get people from online to offline, much like your LinkedIn newsletters. There should be a call to action at the end of every newsletter that is asking people for something or giving them something. You want to take my free assessment. You want to take my free quiz. You want to book a 15-minute discovery call. You want to connect offline. You want to go to our workshop. You need to get people off of the platform because God forbid something happens to your LinkedIn profile, you're cut off from all the communication that you have from your LinkedIn connections. So, yes, it's okay to DM people, but move those conversations offline. Leave your calendar link. Whenever someone actually messages me on LinkedIn and they attach a note or something, and I think it's, pretty genuine and authentic, I don't think I'm going to get pitch slapped across the face. I actually reply back and say, great, would love to connect. Here's my calendar link where you can grab a time. And this happened to me last week. Someone booked a time, got on my calendar, and guess what? Never showed up. And here's the thing, that tells me that this person didn't really care about what I did or who I work with or what I do. They were probably going to sell and pitch me. And they ended up not showing up, which actually was good. It saved me time, it saved their time. But the fact of the matter is that you need to be thinking about everything that you're doing, from your content to your connecting to your profile. How can I start building these relationships offline? How can I get these people on my email list where they can be nurtured? And I'll give you another short story. Nancy and I did a free a free content creation workshop a couple months ago, and we had 121 people accept the invite to attend the event, which is offline. So they had to click the registration link. And of the 121, 73 of them ended up opting in and put their name and email and join the workshop. So we converted 73 people from our LinkedIn connections that are now on our email list where they can be nurtured. That's what you have to be thinking about. There's multiple touch points now. The sales cycle, taking someone from a new connection where you're building that know, like, and trust to getting them across the bridge where they finally say, yes, here's my credit card. I want to work with you. There's up to 11 touch points now, whether that's them seeing your content or having phone calls or Zooms or joining your workshops. You have to stay in front of those people. So if you're not moving those conversations offline, you are missing opportunities to grow your business.
Absolutely. It's like, I always go back to what Scott used to say, we're always planting seeds, right? All over the place. So definitely, again, if you have not registered for our workshop, it is a paid workshop, but it is time well spent and money well spent. And like Scott said, if you can't join us live, you will get
$29. It's
$29. Oh,
like
and
$5 a day.
yeah, the ROI on that, which we give you guys value and actionable homework and takeaway. So it's almost like a boot camp too, right? So we've actually had people booking calls during our workshops. I
Close
mean,
clients.
reaching out, closing clients, booking calls. I mean, it's the real deal.
Yeah.
So final kind of wrapping this up, please, again, register for the workshop if you are serious about growing your LinkedIn and your business, right? The right way. Okay. And there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And that's kind of what we went through. So we'll share the link in the description. And again, the workshop is called Scaling Your Business Blueprint Workshop. And it's 5 days. We kind of cover everything to, optimizing your sales system, crafting irresistible offers, building your email sequences, and more. So it's going to be a really good one and a lot of value jam-packed into that workshop.
So
Yep.
Yep. So again, it's April 27th to May 1st, 12 to 1 Eastern, live and recorded. If you're interested in watching on social, just type the word me in the comments. We'll send you the link, as Nancy said. If you're listening on the podcast, the description of the episode contains the link. So remember, optimize that profile, connect intentionally, do not spam people, post consistent value to build the know, like, and trust. Start those genuine conversations. Do not pitch slap people left and right, and move your ecosystem offline so you can grow that email list, so you can nurture people and grow your business. So, everyone, we hope you enjoyed today's training and today's episode. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.